Tsara-Grad, a once proud imperial world, has been laid low by the foul Xenos race known as the Ork Marauders. The Battle Brothers have been tasked with infiltrating this Ork world and putting an end to its war boss's foul reign of terror. As the Marines rest as nightfall approaches them, their position has been compromised, and now an Ork war party is ready to slaughter them. As evening crawled towards dusk, the Space Marine forces took a moment to rest after their harrowing shuttle ride towards the surface. They took stock of their weapons and provisions and made their temporary camp within the ruins of an old farmhouse in the outskirts of the once proud Tsara-Grad capital. However, their position has been compromised, and now a mighty Ork war host moves to intercept them. Can they survive the night before reinforcements arrive?
Fear not, brothers, and suffer not the enemy of the Imperium.
The battle opened with an Ork boy squad breaking cover at the tree line and advancing straight towards the ruins of the old farmstead. Taking up a gun line, they opened fire at the Space Marines crouched within, with their shots only being able to punch through one of the venerable Marines' armor panels. Wasting no time, and knowing that the position was well and truly compromised, the Marines returned fire at the Orks, blasting apart 3 of their number in a hail of bolter rounds and a rocket blast. Meanwhile, another Ork squad advances towards the commander's position, rushing forward, stopping just short of them. Seeing the ever-looming threats on the horizon, the Marine squad within the farmhouse reposition and pour down unrelenting gunfire upon the tree line, putting down 3 of the approaching Orks.
Take cover, lads!
To the north of the farmhouse, a large mob of Orks, led by the minor war boss, Skycleaver, maneuver around the Space Marine command squad.
Easy does it, lads. Let's outflank these tin cans.
With their positions sighted by the Battle Brothers, the commander and his veterans open fire at the Ork Marauders, hidden within the tree line, managing to deliver accurate bolter fire as well as a missile strike, which decimates 3 of the Ork troopers. However, these Orks are too stubborn and bloodthirsty to retreat from the field of battle, and they stick around to continue to fight. The Ork mob then returns fire at the Space Marines hiding in the ruins, with a lucky shot striking true at a weak point in the Ceramite power armor, dropping one of the venerable warriors into the ground of Tsara-Grad. With turn 1 coming to a close, the Battle Brothers are firmly dug in, however the Ork war host is quickly closing the gap. Surely a bloody melee is to follow in the coming turns. At beginning of turn 2, the Space Marine commander attempts to rally reinforcements to his position. The support from Squad Dante is still several clicks away, and they make full haste towards the battle space. The Marines in the farmhouse take full advantage of the Orks now out in the open, and they continue to pour down a heavy barrage of bolter rounds as well as rocket blasts into the approaching mobs. However, the Orks' nerve is not shaken, and they continued advance towards the Marines' position. The large squad of Orks that try to flank around the command squad successfully make it into the main bulk of the ruins and gun down a single Marine in a deluge of gunfire and heavy slug rounds. The command squad then turns on its heel and pours unrelenting fire into the Ork mob, absolutely battering their numbers, yet they are undeterred and continue to press their assault. The Ork squad in the eastern section of the farm ruins rushes the forward Marine position, colliding with these colossal warriors in the Imperium in bitter hand-to-hand combat. They manage to tear apart 2 of the Marines, and then as they clamber over the walls, the last 2 warriors rev their chainsaws and affix their bayonets, and skewer the Ork warriors as they climb over, leaving the battle at a bloody stalemate as both sides break off and prepare for a future assault. These troopers, barely having time to recover from the recent assault, raise their bolt guns and return fire at the offending Ork unit. However, these shots do nothing but blow gaping holes in the already damaged ruins. In the north, a gigantic Ork mob launches themselves at the commander and his veterans, with the Orks slamming headlong into their units with enough force to crumble the ancient walls.
Venerable warriors of the Imperium, don't make me laugh.
and as the commander swipes back with his mighty power sword, he managed to cleave 2 orcs in half. However, they promptly failed a morale test, and these units are trampled under the jackboot of the Orc Goths as they consolidate their position.
Let's get looting, lads.
Bursting from the tree line, the Orc boys rush across the open field and slam headlong into the other squad of Space Marines. In the bitter melee, they are able to overcome their foe, slaughtering the Marines to a man, bringing the turn to a close. As turn 2 comes to a bloody conclusion, the Marines' position within the ruins of the old farmhouse has been greatly compromised, with a mere 3 Marines remaining of their mission falls down to Support Squad Dante, and if they can arrive to the battle space before the last of their brothers are slaughtered to a man. The Marines' radio crackles to life, and Support Squad Dante enters the battle space as they pass a successful quality test. The last survivors within the farm then break off from the main Orc host and fall back to the surrounding woodland.
Look to your war gear, brothers. We have greenskins to kill.
As the Orcs then take up position and lay down withering fire against Support Squad Dante's approach, managing to blast a hole through the helm of the lead Marine, as the rest of the squad then advances up to take what little cover they can in the open ground.
Stay on me, brothers. Follow me and you will live.
Wasting no time, Support Squad Dante then returns fire at the Orcs hiding within the ruins, managing to gun down all but one of the Orc boys. However, this Orc is either too brave or stupid to fall back, and promptly holds its ground whilst bellowing out a foul war cry. As the Orcs begin to lose control of the battle, they begin to hurl themselves into the final units of the Battle Brother forces, clashing with the missile squad in the tree line. The violent Orc chopper swings clang harmlessly off the Ceramite power armor, and the Space Marines fight back with the missile launcher caving in the first Orc skull, and his brother to his left swinging his bayonet and gouging apart the Orc, dropping it dead onto the ground. The last Orc, absolutely dumbfounded at the tenacity of the Space Marines, refuses to break and repositions for another assault. The last of the Orc survivors then leave the safety of the ruins, repositioning for their final assaults against the Marines dug in the tree lines, bringing turn 3 to a climactic conclusion. And as the battle crawls ever closer to turn 4, the survivors of each force steel themselves for the assaults to come. Wasting little time, the Marines open fire, delivering a devastating missile shot straight to the larger of the 2 Orc squads, blowing them all to pieces and leaving nothing but small green chunks across the battlefield. The last Orc survivor then throws himself into melee against the Marines, failing to land a decisive hit and receiving a bayonet to the throat for his trouble. The Orc remaining in the last farm building standing opens fire at the Marines, managing to fell another of the venerable Battle Brothers, as the last Orc mob on the battle of any real firepower charges headlong into the Marines stationed in the tree line, clashing bitterly with these venerable warriors of the Imperium. In the great tussle of hand-to-hand combat, 2 of the Marines are clubbed to death with sweeping Orc chopper blows. The Marines fight back with the clubs of their rifles and bayonets, managing to slaughter 4 of the Orcs in quick succession, forcing the last of the squad to fail their nerve, promptly being run down by the survivors of the squad.
They're killing us, boss!
Wasting no time, these troopers then unleash an absolute barrage of shots, rockets, and grenades into the farmhouse, blowing apart the final Orc survivor and bringing the battle to a close. As turn 4 comes to an end, the Space Marines gather what little forces they have left and assess their situation. Although the battle for the farm was a success, it was an unnecessary combat encounter in which heavily depleted the already light Marine forces that made planetfall. The survivors linking up with Dante's support squad have followed a nearby homing beacon towards another squad of Space Marines under the command of the legendary Captain Panther, the hero of the Battle Brother forces on Halifax Prime. Now together, these forces will rendezvous with other Imperial forces and converge upon a small Orc stronghold in order to break the outer defenses as they push their way closer to the Tsara-Grad capital. Join us next week as the Battle Brothers launch their assault on this Orc outpost, and prepare to push back on all fronts against the foul Xenos, as they fight towards the liberation of Tsara-Grad.